Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade,
And I'm Joe.
and we're doing a special Valentine's Day edition of this. We're doing Jean Cocteau's 1946 rendition of Beauty and the Beast. It's a classic tale as old as time, of course. I've only really seen two versions of Beauty and the Beast. It was the original Disney, and also I forget. I mean, I think my mom really likes the the Disney like live action Beauty and the Beast with Hermione and Dan Stevens. Um, so I've never seen this one.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I was not anticipating what I got.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. I don't know how the original story is, but with like Belle having two sisters and a brother, and
Yeah.
there's the brother's friend, I think Aramont, I think was his name, or Avenant or something like
Yeah,
that.
Avanon or something.
I did not know anything about that.
That's your Gaston
Yeah,
character.
yeah, I that's what I thought it was. Um, but it's have you seen Beauty and the Beast? It's the same story. Well, it's not the same story.
No.
It's very experimental a little bit with like it's the choices. I kind of love the look of this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's for those who aren't like, because I think this tends to be the gateway for people to watch Jean Cocteau's films. Very much somebody into that surrealist kind of thing, and really pushes um pushes the looks of his films all the time, and really goes for it, and this one's no different. Kind of, I mean, if the makeup for the Beast.
Oh, the makeup and costume design. The Beast looked pretty suave. I'm just gonna say he had
Yeah.
that nice little collar thing. He had like the boots. He was looking pretty damn suave, and the makeup looked great. It looked sympathetic, but
um
also scary at the same time.
well, and we'll get into that, but like the makeup and then the set design, the way he shoots all the scenes.
The castle with like the statue heads and
Yeah.
the candelabra hands, the handelabras, if you
that
will.
that's kind of the biggest image that people take away, is the candelabras with
Yeah,
the arms.
that's so really cool. It's so cool.
It's so dope.
And
yeah.
how like there was a scene where Belle is pacing back and forth, and the statue face
Looks-
is also doing the same, like, watching. It's just
Yeah.
like
um,
attention to detail with that.
and
There's also little things with the cinematography that's really good. Like there's early scene where Belle's cleaning the floor,
mhm.
and I'm just gonna say Gaston. The Gaston character, her reflection is in the floor, and then Gaston picks up the arrow next to her,
Mhm.
and then transitions to the
reveals.
next. Yeah, it's a really cool move.
I want to say it reminds me of Orpheus.
Yes.
Where they have those moments of like the character looking into the water and like drifting in and stuff like that. So like this is like Jean Cocteau kind of flexing those muscles, and
Oh, he flexes.
and I always like there's a lot of really simple like camera tricks with the rear projection and like kind of almost sets where it's
Reverse
like,
shots.
I love when you see the woods, like the branches open up and then close,
Yeah.
and it's so like
That whole scene establishing the woods into the castle is scary. The shadows and the lighting is so good in that. And the score is really good too.
yeah, it's all very like, you can see how influenced he is from stage productions.
It felt like a really elaborate play that David Lynch did or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's something like the very like someone's like, I'm gonna break the rules of theater, and they do some weird adventurous kind of things. And this is 1946, and it's pretty good. And even the Beast makeup was cool because you had the animatronic ears
Yeah.
that would happen here and there. You would notice that. Ooh, that's really cool.
They're not really animatronics as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't think it's like something.
I think it's like puppeted.
Yeah, because it has. I could see it because they have that collar around him. That's probably where they hide some things,
And the thing
edges and stuff.
I mean, one of the big things you have to acknowledge, like not just Jean Cocteau's filmmaking, but Jean Marais to come in. I believe, does he play two different characters in the film?
Technically three.
Oh, does he do three?
No,
Yeah, he does
because
do-
you have well, spoiler. Gaston
Mhm.
when We'll get to the ending because the ending's
Yeah.
wild. But like he plays Gaston, but he also plays the Beast, but he also plays the Beast after.
Yeah. So Jean
Being
Marais going all out plays, I guess we'll call it 3 different characters, but 2 different characters in the film, and his performance as Beast
So good.
is incredible given the restrictions of all the makeup and stuff he has to act through. And he does an incredible job conveying a beast that has like this stern animalistic side, this walled vulnerability. Like you can see that he's like, I'm projecting a much stronger persona, but I'm actually really like scared and wounded here. And then to go even further with the wounded, like completely vulnerable, like I'll die of grief if you don't show back up.
Yeah.
Beast. And he's so good throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
And it's such a masterclass of like acting, doing different characters, being able to portray them with expert skill, even with all the limitations.
I did not expect this movie to have so much the weird family drama and selfishness and the kind of like stuff like that.
It really doubles down on the like her sisters are very like elitist, and
they want a monkey and a parrot. I think that's what they wanted.
Yeah, and Belle being made fun of for being
she wants a rose
for asking for something simple, but then at the same time that ends up getting their father in trouble.
Yeah,
and then they just twist it and blame it on her, and then you have your Gaston-like character who wants to marry Belle, and he's like, "You're the most beautiful of the bunch," and he's not wrong.
Yeah,
like
I won't want to be with those sisters. They're so mean.
But like Gaston is so he's not necessarily as overtly malicious in this versus the Disney one.
His heart is kind of in the right place, but
there's those questionable motives. They're like, oh, he knew that the business was going to pick back up and we were going to have money again. But he seems earnest, at least. I don't know. I never got the vibe that he was fully like in it for the money. Like he's like,
he wasn't a Disney villain.
He's like, why don't you leave, Belle? Like, why don't you go and do something else? You're so worthy of more than this.
He almost got shot by an arrow, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I think this is such a great like kind of. This is one of the early spine numbers for Criterion. I think it's like 5 or 6.
It's around there, yeah. It's French, by the way, but also I'd say if you're even like not into like, if you don't like reading subtitles, this is pretty easy to get into.
Yeah.
Like my fiance was watching a little bit of it because she just got home from work, and she was like, she just sat there and started watching it, and then I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna pause it. She's like, no, I'm into it. Like, you can get into it pretty well.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think this film, even if it's hard for you to get into films like that, there's always something that can draw you in, whether it's the cool set design and makeup and special effects they do,
or just the acting and story.
The acting and the story. The music's great, the whole kind of 9 yards. It's just a really solid film. Is it perfect? No, but it's certainly like among the better ones of the time.
Yeah.
And it's really pushing the boundaries, I think, for that period of time. And it's just telling this kind of folk, fairy tale and like really kind of going for it.
Spoiler alert. We gotta talk about this ending.
Okay.
This ending.
It's wild.
It's wild. Okay, so spoiler alert. I mean, obviously the beast becomes back to human.
Yes.
But they threw a wrinkle that I was not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the beast is dying.
Yes.
In the little river thing.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention all the smoke.
Yeah, the smoke's really cool.
Where they have the smoke coming off of him.
I also love like the scene where like he drinks from her hand.
Oh, that's a great
scene. But they're back at that river where that scene happens, and Gaston and Belle's brother try to break in to kill the beast, and they end up like looking down at like this statue of like the Greek goddess Diana, who is like the basically Artemides.
Yeah.
Artemis, not Artemis. Artemis.
Yeah.
You know,
I knew what you
wild hunt stuff like that.
Yeah.
Creation, birth. You know how the beast is birthed. But anyway, so it has a bow and arrow. So Gaston's climbing down, and then the bow and arrow statue. Of course, they're all statues. Most statues are alive. Shoots him with the arrow. He gets hit in the back with the arrow, and then his face turns into the beast and falls and dies as the beast. And then the beast, now as human, Prince Ardent, he does a reverse shot rise, and he looks just like Gaston.
Yeah.
So the thing is, he gets his human form back, but it's in the image of Gaston.
Yeah.
Who she kind of had a flirtation with in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Are you cool with it?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, Did you like him before meeting me? Yeah. Do you like me? Do you still love me as the Beast? When I was the Beast? Yeah. I was like, we. And she's just like, kind of like,
it probably just
very, very flirtatious on this one. Like she has like a dark side to her. But because he like, it was like, I hope you're not frightened with me. And she says, I had to write it down. I don't mind being frightened with you. I was like, oh.
Well, it's, and it's also like they have those really great phrases.
Yeah.
With a lot of these like French, like kind of almost very poetic kind of lines.
And then this is the part where I was like, okay. They start like kind of like, oh, sweet nothings and stuff like that. And then they just start flying in the air. They go full Grease lightning, Grease ending.
Yeah.
Where they just fly in the air and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I have to clap because I was not expecting. I thought I was like, oh, he's just going to turn into some handsome person that strangely looks like Gaston, but they're not going to address it. No, it looks just like Gaston, and that's the point. And she's like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
It's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
That she gets
the looks of Gaston and the love of Beast.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think
it's so weird, but I love it.
What I also love, and you kind of went through it pretty quickly, but what I also love is there's, instead of the Disney one where they just hunt down the Beast because he's different.
A beast.
This one, they have a motivation. They're like, he's trying, like, he basically asked for this man's daughter as payment for a rose. They're like, nah, son, that's not cool.
That's wrong.
And they're like, we're going to go get her, and we're going to take this dude out.
But then I think they get a little selfish a little bit.
Of course they
do.
do.
Like, oh, what's this statue? Oh, let's climb down here.
Yeah.
Let's break this glass and break and enter. B&E. Let's do that. And then it doesn't really work out for Gaston. But it works out for the Beast and Belle because Belle gets to have her cake and eat it too.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, and I do like. It's one of those like because I've seen several adaptations, including this one, and it's a really fun one. I think it's really cool, and I like. At the very minimum, it's the vibe, and I guess the aesthetics, like the cool, like the
atmosphere,
the candelabras, the atmosphere. The statues that look around when you're like walking by. The smoke. It's super. The
scene
cool.
where he like goes into her room, like he's like kind of going through the hallway and she's hiding behind a statue and smoke's coming off him and he looks in the mirror. Like that's a cool scene.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like it's like not even part of the castle. We're in a different dimension.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's really cool. But that's our thought. Oh, I guess before I go to our thoughts, would you recommend it?
Yeah. Of course. I do really like this one, and like it's interesting because I haven't really seen a bunch of Jean Cocteau's films, but Same. This is one, and we watched Orpheus. Like it's becoming increasingly like more and more interesting, and I'd like to like delve more into them and kind of see what else kind of this guy has up his sleeve.
Yeah. I'd also recommend it. Let us know in the comments section below. Everything he said. Let us know in the comments section below what you think about the film. Is there another Jean Cocteau film that's in the Criterion collection that we could watch on Criterion Connection?
Mm-hmm.
Like, subscribe, share, make suggestions. It's a new year, so please make more suggestions for us. We dusted off the old suggestion list.
Oh, yeah?
And we're adding more to it. So thank you. Please tell your friends about this. Let's make this channel grow more. So that's it. As always, I'm Wade.
And I'm still Joe.
And we'll see you later.